Welcome to the Life Unlimited podcast with Larry Heller. You deserve complete financial advice so you can confidently live your life your way, for life. Now, let's get into this week's podcast episode.
Hello and welcome to another Life Unlimited podcast with your host, Larry Heller. Today, we're doing a deep dive into how Heller Wealth Management works with business owners. Now, there's a lot of stuff to cover here, Larry. So where do we begin, my friend?
Yeah. So, just to give everyone kind of a little bit of a background, I mean, we work with individuals, and over the years, a lot of these individuals were business owners. So one of the things that we kind of looked at and business owners started asking us is how can we help them on their business side? So that's grown to a nice part of our business and our practice. And there's really kind of three areas that we kind of look at in adding value to business owners for their business. One is their corporate benefits, where there's a lot of different things that you can do and how they set up and why it's so important, how they work. A lot of people put in these 401k plans like 10 years ago and they haven't looked at it. And the world has changed. So that's a big part of what we do, is helping coming up with the right one for employee retention, tax benefits, and long-term investing. So we'll take a little bit of deeper dive on the corporate benefit side. And the other one is cash management. Interest rates have crept back up now, but a lot of businesses that are, have cash in place and want to have cash in place to make sure that their business continues, are losing some opportunities because a lot of the banks they work with, the interest rates there are really low. So how can you improve your cash management and get a little bit of extra return and also make sure that the money is safe? So that's another value that we look at. And the third one is really, business professionals. So I've been around a long time, Matt. We just finished 30 years. So we have a plethora of experts in a lot of different areas, from payroll to HR to, we just had clients, a small law firm, husband and wife, looking to sell their practice, and we were able to connect them with somebody. That's all they do, and they're able to. It looks like they're going to have a successful transition. So we have a ton of expertise in a lot of different areas that we can help. Plus, obviously, attorneys and accountants. So we help and we guide along those lines, and we get questions. Unfortunately, sometimes employment law questions, or like I said, HR questions, and we've helped guide them. So those are kind of the three areas, and we'll take a little bit of a dive into each one of them.
All right, corporate benefits. Now, we have done some podcasts previously on 401ks, and you actually brought a specialist on a couple episodes on the benefit side. So let's start with, why are corporate benefits so vitally important to business owners?
Right. So there's two parts of it. And sometimes some business owners look at one part and not at the other and don't really value both parts of them. But the first part is really kind of an employee retention. And you as the business owner may not think that it's that critical to have a retirement plan, but a lot of times employees, one of the things that they're asking about is, what is the retirement plan? What is the match on this plan? How much is the owner contributing? And if you don't have one, they may not even come to speak with you. So that's one of the things, is how do you do that? And then how do you keep these employees? By having a good retirement plan and either matching or setting up certain vesting or some type of non-qualified deferred comps. A lot of different ways of keeping these employees kind of at the firm, because any business owner will tell you that trying to replace a valuable employee with somebody new, there's a huge cost in both onboarding that person and training that person and finding that person. So if you can retain these by having the correct retirement plan, the correct corporate benefits in there, it'll make your business so much more valuable and able to grow even more. So that's kind of one part of the corporate benefit, the retirement plan. And the other is devising it so you could be tax advantaged. And a lot of times we've actually put plans in place that after the tax deduction, everything they're giving to the employees is basically free money because the government is giving them a big enough tax deduction that it's really not costing any money to give some money to the employees, which is helping on employee retention. So it's so important on there. So the first thing is really the 401k plan. So a lot of owners will say, "Oh, I'll put a 401k plan in place. My employees will be happy; they can contribute money." And they put the plan in place, and they don't do a safe harbor contribution or a safe harbor match. And guess what happens at the end of the year? At the end of the year, the government kind of looks at the plan and says, well, you can't just put a plan in place because that'll kind of discriminate against the people that make more money. So we don't want to just have the higher earning employees be able to take advantage of this. So they do some testing, and your lower paid people have to contribute enough in order for the higher paid people to be able to maximize what they want to do. So we've gone into plans and we take a look at it, and they have this 401k plan, and the key people who are making the more money put away a lion's share. And at the end of the year, they get a little notice from their actuaries and says, you have to return all this money back because you failed the test. And so now the key employees are unhappy because they thought they were putting a large amount of money tax deferred, and they're not able to. They're not able to pull. Sometimes it could be the whole thing, but sometimes it could be significant amounts. So if you have a safe harbor plan, so the difference between, again, like Matt said, we have a 4-part series on the 401ks online that you can go and watch. But if you have a safe harbor contribution, which is a 3%, or a safe harbor match, which could be 0, but it can be all the way up to 4%, then you don't have to worry about failing the testing, because as long as you have one of these types of safe harbor in there, you don't care if they fail, they pass the test. The government says we don't worry about that anymore. So making sure that you have the right type of plan in place is super critical. And one a lot of employees are not aware of. The other thing is we talk about is fiduciary. And again, we touched about this in the previous podcast, but sometimes they'll just name the administrative assistant as the fiduciary and don't realize what the liability that person now is taking on with them. So at Hello Wealth Management, we become what's called the 338, and we become the fiduciary. And then finally is the investments. So I've talked about this so many different times, and I don't know why most 401k plans don't have these type of model portfolios in place, because most people that are in a 401k plan, that's not their expertise in picking the investments. So a new employee comes on and they go to onboard and they get a list of 20, 30 different investments, and they look at it like, what should I do? And they're asking their buddy, well, what did you do? Well, they're asking, what should they put in? They have no idea. And they look at the returns. Oh, last year, this fund was up 25%. Oh, I'm going to go into that one. This one last year was down. Oh, I'm not going to go into that one. And that might not be the best thing to do. So what we do as a firm is we create these model portfolios from conservative to moderate to aggressive. And we're managing these model portfolios for them. And guess what, Matt? Let's see if you remember. What percentage of our participants do you think select one of these model portfolios?
Oh, it's astronomical. It's like 90%, or isn't it?
It's not so high. It's a little under 80%.
I was being optimistic there, brother. Sorry about that.
It's a little under 80%, but it's still a bit huge.
Yeah.
It's still a big number, which is telling me that people want this. And yet very few plans that we see that we take have these options. They have some other target funds and things like that, which most participants don't even understand how they work. So those are the key things when you're looking at a 401k plan. And I urge you to go watch the 4-part series to go into a little bit more detail on that. But that's one of the things that we help with a business owner. And then on top of that, and this is the really cool part that we can do some planning, and when it is, and based upon your census, that you may be able to add on what's called the cash balance plan. So if you have a successful business, and really it depends, it doesn't work for all businesses. It may depend upon what your census is. You could put a plan in place that you may be able to put away hundreds of thousands of dollars more. And so few people know about this or really try to find out about this. I'm going to give you an example. We put on a client a few years ago, and the owner was a woman, and her firm had a lot of part-time employees, and the full-time employees were lower earned and younger. And we looked at the plan. The plan was with one of the big payroll companies, and we looked at it and said, you're killing it. You're making a lot of money, and you'd have your 401k plan. Do you realize you can put another $250,000 away each year, get a tax deduction for that, and accumulate that, and basically give the employees very little, of which you'll get a huge tax deduction for it? And she was like, no, I never knew about that. And her accountant didn't tell her about it. The big box payroll company didn't tell her about it, didn't even realize that. And we've now been doing this for 5 years for her. So looking at that and seeing what that is, and understanding that, and knowing that opportunity, that possibility opportunity exists, is another way that we look at it, and we help business owners.
Huh. So did we do a specific show on the cash balance plans also?
We did. So there is a podcast just on the cash balance plans that is there. I don't remember. It's not too long ago. So, but there was on the cash balance one, and I'll make sure they put in the show notes the links to all these podcasts. So if you want to go ahead and watch or listen to them, you'll be able to go ahead and do this. And a lot of times you want to coordinate this. You want to coordinate the two different plan types, because it gets a little complicated with employee deferral, a safe harbor, potentially a profit sharing contribution in there that could also integrate with the cash balance plans. There's a lot of ways of slicing these and putting these together to maximizing what you can do. And we work very closely with a lot of actuaries to make sure that this is done properly.
All right. So corporate benefits, the next phase of what we're going to be talking about and how you work with business owners, and you alluded to this at the top of the show, is cash management. So let's dive in there.
Yeah. So again, a lot of companies like to keep cash on hand to make sure that they have maybe 6 months worth of expenses, maybe even a year worth of expenses, so they don't have to worry about some ups and downs in the market. So they want to have secure about that. But they're with a bank, and the banks are only paying a small amount. They could do maybe a CD, but then you're locking into a certain time frame on that. Well, there are a lot of government money markets out there, which are mostly treasuries that you can do, and we can link those. So you can go back and forth from your bank to this money market account as many times as you want. Yeah, it may take a day or two to sell the money market and to get that transferred back to you. But now just think about it. If you're keeping $500,000 in a cash, and you can get an extra 5% on your return.
Oh man.
I mean, that's $25,000 in your pocket just by managing the cash. So we can set up this process and procedures to make it real easy for you to transfer it back and forth and to manage your cash. And there's other things to do if you've got a lot more cash. There are other factors out there that we can do that if we wanted to, and you wanted FDIC insurance. There's some other ways of doing that. For most people, they're okay with the money market, the government money markets. But if we wanted to do something more, there's ways of doing FDIC insurance and doing kind of multiple banks, or getting more than the $250,000 per bank. So there's a lot of different ways that we can come up with managing cash to increase your returns. We've actually had clients that we've saved them so much on managing the cash, more than offsets our fee. So just by bringing that up, our planning fee, I joke with them. I said, it's free because we just found you all this extra income for yourself. So, so again, doing that, managing the cash, coordinating the corporate benefits, those are kind of really the two big things that we help and assist with our clients today.
Well, I don't know about you, Larry, but I think we should probably do a podcast on cash management for businesses. So let's just kind of put that in our little parking lot over there, because you just opened up 15 different side questions that I want to ask you, but that's not what this show is specifically about today. Because understanding cash management and what most people understand is corporate benefits is really, really valuable. But I think one of the reasons why business owners really need to reach out to you and engage your firm is because you have been doing this for so long, and you are one of those people who like to play nice in the sandbox with other professionals. And because you have such good, deep relationships with these really, really highly expertise level people, that you've got a really great network. So let's dive into that.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you can have a great team behind you, it makes your life better, and it's much more attractive to you. So we'll start with the accountants. So we've done numerous podcasts on tax savings ideas. Matt, we've talked about tax loss harvesting and Roth conversions. And yes, I'm a former CPA and my staff is CFPs. So we know the tax world out there. But a lot of accountants out there are either doing kind of reactive when they do the tax returns. They're not proactively looking at tax planning multiple years ahead, not just 1 year ahead, but trying to figure that out. So we want to be able to, when we come up with some of these, we want to be able to coordinate this with your accountant and make sure that everyone's on the same page and it makes sense for you. So if you don't have the right accountant, then there are a lot of accountants that we work with that we can coordinate as a team. If you do have one, we want to work closely together for your benefit. So coordinating your accountant and your financial advisor and planner is super, super important. So so we have again a deep bench of different accounts with different experiences in different industries, in different accounting sizes. And then there's attorneys for a lot of different reasons, starting with a corporate attorney. We've met clients that have multiple partners. And then I asked them, well, when was the last time you updated your buy-sell agreement? And they said, well, we still haven't gotten around to that. And the company's 7 years old. Oof. So now, well, who's the right person to put a buy-sell agreement in there? And I'm like, what happens if one of your partners gets disabled or dies? Or what happens if you want to sell, if you have a succession plan in place? So coordinating not only with a corporate attorney, but maybe even a state attorney. So those type things. We have numerous clients that have been divorced and they're about to get remarried. We have one going on right now. He's divorced. He has his own business. Second marriage, going to be a second marriage coming up in the fall. He has adult children. His potential wife has adult children. His wife has a business. So we basically said to him, we said, have you discussed a prenuptial agreement? No. So now we've talked to him about the importance. Now he wants to do that. Well, who should I go to? Again, we can recommend certain attorneys. A lot of times we want to have the prenuptial is done by a matrimonial attorney, but we need an estate attorney to kind of coordinate what's going to happen with some of the assets. So now they need two recommendations on that. And that's obviously this is a business owner that we're talking about, even if you're not a business owner. So a second marriage. So again, our bench of attorneys in different areas, different locations. We're in multiple locations. We have clients all over the countries, and also have resources belong to certain networks that if they're in a certain place that we don't have one, I can go to our resource and find somebody that's located in there through our networking portal. So So accounts and attorneys are the biggest ones, but then there's also insurance.
Yeah.
Property and casualty insurance, life insurance. Again, numerous different contacts who will do a review for us and give us an honest opinion on that, not just to sell some certain products. We have those insurance people in place who will review something and report back. Or you need something on disability, or you want to put a disability program through your business. What should you do? What should you not? Of course, we'll help advise on this as a independent, because we're not getting compensated from any commission, which salespeople do, which insurance people do. But again, we have a lot of those people on our I was gonna use the word Rolodex, Matt.
Oh, brother, we're showing our age with Rolodex, man. That was brutal. Or people like, what the heck is that? Yeah.
So we have that. And then, like I said before, HR people, payroll people, you name it. We had a company that, unfortunately, they might have had a little bit of an issue with an employee. So they needed an employment attorney. We're able to connect them and really help them out. So those things, it's one of the things that we help and can provide some valuable benefit when working together.
So that's when you have somebody in your corner who not only, so the other thing, and I'm surprised you didn't say this, and I apologize, I didn't say this earlier. Larry, you're a freaking business owner, man. Like you walk and talk all of these things. You have a whole team. You have a nationwide presence. You have all of these moving parts. This is not just something that you know because you are a financial services professional, but it's also, this is something deeply personal to you because you're fiercely entrepreneurial and you have been running a successful business for many, many years. Do you want to kind of wrap the show up with that?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, Matt. So like any investment we do, I'm in every one of the investments that we use for our clients. So the same thing here, as I'm running a small business. So all the things that I've talked about are all the things that we've put in practice for myself and my business. So we've kind of done that. And that's part of the reasons why when I meet a small business owner, I can say, well, you don't have that. What about this? What about that? Because we've already done it for ourselves. So yeah, that's a great point. That 30-year expertise in running a business and growing a business and adding employees and putting in different types of retirement plans and retention plans and bonus plans. So all that kind of comes into place.
Yeah. Well, it's just nice that you've walked the walk. Not only are you a professional and an expert in all of this, but you actually you live it every single solitary day. Okay. So if Larry, if somebody wants to know a little bit more about how you can help their business, and not just their business, but also them as the business owner, what should they do and where should they go?
Sure. They can go to our website, hellowealthmanagement.com, and you can go right there and you can click on and get an appointment with myself or one of our planners right through our website. If you'd like to call us, feel free to do that. It's 631-248-3600.
Fantastic. And listen, if you know a business owner, or if you're a business owner who has friends, because as a fellow business owner like Larry, most of my friends are business owners, share this show with them, because these are things that not a lot of people talk about, because there are not a lot of people that you have in your corner who can truly help you make informed decisions that are not only going to help you as a business owner, but it's going to help your business and help you retain the people that you want. So for Larry, this is Matt Haller, and we'll see you on the other side of the mic very soon.